beginning this journey, the journey to salvation, the journey to liberation, the journey to our freedom, begins with one small step. And yes, the old adage comes to mind. It's one small step for a man, but a giant leap for mankind. It begins with one small step. And if you were to ask me, well, Swaminathan, so what is that one small step that you speak of? This is one of those journeys. You're not going to get very far if you don't begin without having seen the destination. You need to know where you're heading. You need to know where you're aiming. You need to know your target. You need to know your destination. Without a good, solid view of that final goal, you're not going to get anywhere. It's not like you're going to get halfway there. You're simply not going to get anywhere. Because unlike most other journeys where you can kind of make it up as you go along, unfortunately, you can't do that with the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is the only way, the only path to one's salvation. Have you ever heard or read the Noble Eightfold Paths? Ever come across that? No, and why is that? Because there's only one of them. It's the Noble Eightfold Path. There's only one. You need to see the destination. You need to have seen what the destination is, where this Noble Eightfold Path leads you, before you actually make a start. In fact, seeing the destination is one and the same as having begun the journey. Does that sound like a riddle? Having seen the destination is one and the same as having begun the journey. If you are someone who has embarked on this journey, if you are someone who is on the Noble Eightfold Path, then you are someone who knows crystal clearly, with laser sharp precision, what nirvana is. If the concept of nirvana is still a bit iffy, if it's one of those gray areas, what's nirvana? Oh, it's one of those gray areas. I can't quite put my finger on it. Well, you ain't nowhere near to nirvana. You ain't even on the path. Because this is a straight road ahead. Once you're on it, it's a straight road ahead. It's as the crow flies, you can see the destination. And once you've seen the destination, the appeal is so strong. The lure of it is so strong that you can't give in to anything else. In fact, the sole purpose of your life becomes to complete this journey and get to the other side, where you can live happily. Don't just complete my half sentences. Don't let me put words into your mouth. I said where you can live happily ever after. Is there such a thing? No, that's only in fairy tales. Nirvana is not a fairy tale. Because you know now that there is no such thing as living happily ever after. Because can you be and happy at the same time? The concept of being happy is flawed. You can't be and be happy at the same time. Happiness and being are mutually exclusive. Because being is a concept that is worldly, and our interpretation of happiness is out of this world, which means it's on Andromeda, right? Out of this world. It's out of this solar system. It's on the other one. Is that what I mean by that? No. What I mean is the happiness that we are on, the path to achieving, is one that is unconditional. Can you name one thing that is unconditional except for nirvana? One thing that is worldly but unconditional. Now everything is conditioned. Everywhere you look, you see cause and effect. The fact that I'm speaking to you right now is the effect of a number of causes. If you hadn't turned up, I wouldn't be here right now. That's only one of those reasons. Do you remember when we had some problems? You didn't turn up that day. I was waiting for you guys. You never turned up. I didn't know things were going on out there until I got a message saying that you're not going to be turning up. So now we have to pay attention. Okay, Buddha, we have to pay attention now. So we're on a journey. Well, are you? I don't know, because I can't answer that question for you. One sure and short way to know if you're on the journey is if I ask you the question, what is nirvana? And you can give me a clear-cut answer to that. And not one of those, can I go 50-50? Actually, can I ring a friend? Can I get the lifeline? No, this ain't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. No, you need to be able to give me a clear-cut answer to what is nirvana. It has to be clear. It may be that you don't have quite the right words to express it, but deep down in your heart and in your mind, you need to know exactly what nirvana is. Because this is not firing in the wind and seeing, let's see where it hits. It's not one of those things. If you're on the Noble Eightfold Path, I tell you, you don't actually even need a teacher anymore. The Dhamma is your teacher. So here's what I'm saying. If you're being on the Noble Eightfold Path, having embarked on the journey to nirvana, having seen what nirvana is, being someone who does not essentially need a teacher, are all one and the same. It's just the same way of me expressing, just multitude of ways of me expressing what nirvana is. So this, you need to know if you're on the right track. The thing is, until you're on the right track, no matter how much you toil and work hard to reach a destination, you're heading to the wrong destination because you haven't got your bearings right. So I want you to ask yourselves now, if I were to ask you, what is nirvana? Do you have a clear-cut answer to that question? It's not a gray area. It's not one of those, it's neither black nor white, and it's gray. It's one of those things you can't put your finger on. It's not one. You can't come up with the answers like that. And one might say, well, is it not the extinguishing of raga, dvesha and moha? Yeah, well, those are some words. Now you could read the scripture and say, this is exactly what the Buddha said nirvana is. It's unconditional bliss. Etan santang etam panitang yadidang sabba sankhara samato. He said that was what nirvana is. Sabbupadipati nissaggo. He said that was what nirvana is. Tanhakyo. He said that was what nirvana is. Virago. He said that was what nirvana is. Nirodho. See, he's described nirvana in a multitude of ways. But do any of these things really mean anything to you? Or are they simply words? That is what matters. You need to know, folks, what nirvana is. You need to have realized it. And I'm not talking about simply knowledge, because knowledge is just words. What is nirvana? You could show me this. What is nirvana? You know what? You could show me this. So what does that mean? Nirvana is in this? No. You need to be able to explain to me how through this you can realize nirvana. Because once you have realized it, you will see it everywhere. This is not something that comes from a fantasy story. It's not like you're going to see stars glistening everywhere. Oh, that's what nirvana is. It's not like a radiance of colors. That's not what nirvana is. To put it in really, really, really simple terms, when you have achieved a state of mind where you are free of desire, you have no preference for anything. You're not vexing for anything. Whatever goes. You don't have a favorite color. You don't have a favorite item of food. You don't have a favorite song. And genuinely, not you're pretending I don't have a favorite color. You have no interest in finding out what's going on out there. Someone calls your name and you'll only turn your head to look at them out of duty, not because you're vexing to know why did they use my name? Why did they call me? When someone puts an item of food in front of you and you're not salivating. I know. It's a state of mind where you are free of all suffering. But for that, you need to have realized that actually all of the above things that I just described is suffering. What? You have a favorite color that's suffering? That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? To have a favorite color is to say that I suffer. Are you seeing the connection? If you have realized Nibbana, you are seeing the connection. If I ask you the question, what is your favorite item of food, and you can answer that question for me, and you know that no matter what answer you give to that, you are flawed in your answer. As in the fact that you can answer that question is incorrect. There's something fundamentally wrong with you that you can answer that question. If you are able to do that, and knowing fully well that if I answer that question, that is simply my ignorance that is speaking out loud, then you are someone who has seen Nibbana. Because in real terms, you should not be able to answer that question, right? If you ask an Arahant, what is your favorite item of food? They're going to say what? I don't have one. What is your favorite color? I don't have one. That's the state of mind we are trying to get to. And that's not because it's so bad to have a favorite color. So what's so wrong with having a favorite color? How is that suffering? Well, it is. Because if you have a favorite color, then you desire X. If X is your favorite color, then you desire X. In other words, you dread the day you'd go blind. Because if you were to go blind, now what would you not be able to see? X. When you say you have a favorite color, what that means is, I'd like to see that all day, all night long. Give me that color and I'll keep looking at it, I'll stare at it all day if I have to. You should not be able to answer that question. At least if you're answering that question and you know that you shouldn't be able to answer that question, then that's great, because now you're on the right path. And from that day forward, what you're trying to do is to get your mind into a state where you're unable to answer that question. So really, Nirvana in some aspects is becoming handicapped. What you were able to do before you became an Arahant, you are no longer able to do after you have become an Arahant. You are handicapped. Because before you become an Arahant, I ask you what's your favorite color and you have an answer. The day you become an Arahant, I ask you what's your favorite color and you have no answer. So I'm taking away your power to answer that simple question, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite item of food? I'm taking away that the power to answer that very simple question. Does that all sound like Greek so far? Excellent. Now I'm giving you something to think. I'm giving you something to think. I want to help start putting some question boxes in your mind map and then help you draw the connections through the course of the journey. And it'll all start to make sense. Because when you have those question marks and then you find an answer, how does that make you feel? Good, huh? See, I like to please. We like to excel in customer service. Always like to please. So I like to leave you riddled at the beginning and then help you find some answers as we go along. Give you a riddle to work on. A bone to chew. You like chewing bones? Why did you at KFC last night then? So let's try and find some answers. Before that, I was thinking about this the other day, right? And I was delighted when this thought came into my mind, and I thought I must share it with you. I realized that actually I have a cast iron guarantee about something. I can give you all a cast iron guarantee that before the end of the next 2,500 years, hang on, that's only 2.5 millennia. It's not a long time to go, considering how long you've come. Right? That's not a very long time to go. I can guarantee that in the next 2,500 years, you will become an anagami if you can guarantee to me that you will become a sotapanna before you die. I will guarantee to you, I'll give you this cast iron guarantee, you will become an anagami, a non-returner, in the next 2,500 years. If you can give me the promise and if you will work towards becoming a sotapanna before you die. Now come on, it doesn't get a lot better than that, surely. How long did you think you're going to have to wait until you become an anagami? A non-returner? Now you didn't have you didn't have a clue, did you? Even as a stream enterer, you know that you have 7 bhava, or forms of existence to go. I'm going to show you a video today about how we go through in samsara with the arising and the passing away of the mind and all the shapes and forms that we take upon ourselves. It'll help you begin to understand this journey through samsara. But anyway, coming back to the point I was talking to you about, if you can give me a guarantee that you will become a sotapanna, and if you will work towards it, even if it's on your deathbed, if you become a sotapanna, I can give you a guarantee that you will become an anagami, a non-returner, within the next 2,500 years. And how is that? How come I can give you the guarantee? Here's how. When the next Buddha comes along, which is the Maitri Buddha, the Maitri Buddha is going to be coming before the end of this eon. That much we know. And before the next Buddha comes along, our Buddha, or the Gautama Buddha's dispensation, has to have ceased to exist. Now we know that it will only last for another 2,500 years. Between the time of our Buddha's dispensation coming to an end and Maitri Buddha coming into this world is a period where we lack Buddhas. There are no Buddhas. It's called what is called the Buddha Shunya Kala, a time which is void of Buddhas. Now, in the dispensation of one Buddha, so ours is 5,000 years, of which 2.5 have already passed us by. In the 2,500 years left, all beings who will have attained any form of margapala, noble attainments, have to exit the Kamavachara worlds. which is the sensual sphere. So which includes the four hells. Well, of course, there are no beings in the four hells which have achieved noble attainments, that much we know. The human world, the Deva worlds, and all the way up to Paranimita Vasavarti, which is the highest Deva world. So none of the karma worlds, none of the sensual worlds can actually be residents to any beings who have attained noble states. That has to finish, or they all have to exit the karma world by the time the Buddha's dispensation comes to an end. And we know that we only have 2,500 years left. So, can I now not give you that guarantee? If you become a Sotapanna, you only have 2,500 years left, whether you like it or not, to become an Anagami. So what does that not tell you that you will become an Anagami within the next 2,500 years, and all you have to do is become a Sotapanna, and then just lay back, sip your Bacardi, and take it easy. Actually, I wasn't condoning alcohol there, by the way. I mean, that's a guarantee. That's a law, that's a principle. That's how it has to work. It has to work that way. So you see, all you have to do is become a Sotapanna. In the next 2,500 years, you will become an Anagami, a non-returner. You will never come back into the sensual world. You won't even be in the sensual world. So you can't be in the Deva worlds. You have to be at least in the lowest Brahma world. So if you want to know what it's like there, see, there's another way you can go there for sure. You don't have to practice the jhanas. You don't have to go into deep states of meditation or anything like that. All you have to do is become a Sotapanna. The rest will look after itself. Now come on, it doesn't get better than that, surely. So aren't you lucky then? Aren't you glad that a Maitri Buddha is coming around? Why? So we can hang around and say hello to him? No. Because we can make use of a fundamental principle, a theory of the Dhamma, that if you become a Sotapanna, or there can't be any Margapala, or those who have attained noble states around in the Kamavachara worlds, in the sensual worlds, by the time a Buddha's dispensation comes to an end. Now you may have heard of Sahampati, who was a Brahma, who descended from the Brahma worlds and came down and invited the Buddha to preach the Dhamma. So he's a Brahma, he's not a Deva. He wasn't a Deva. There are no beings who have attained noble attainments in any of the karma spheres, sensual spheres, at the time a Buddha comes into this world. So anyway, that was a cast iron guarantee, right? I just wanted you to know that your money is safe here. Okay? You can trust me. Just sign the dotted line. Don't worry about the terms and conditions. You can read the fine print later on. No, but what is the fine print though? You have to be diligent in your practice and become a Sotapanna. So what does that require? It requires listening to the Dhamma. That's the easy part. All you have to do is stay awake, right? That's easy, isn't it? Is it not? Why are you so reluctant to answer that simple question? All you have to do is stay awake, come on. Is that so hard to do? Sometimes it seems like that's the hardest bit. But actually, no, the harder bit comes next. It's contemplation. To reflect on the Dhamma. In other words, the application of what you hear into your life experiences so that this becomes true to you. It's no good that I can say all there is to say about Nirvana and you sit there like a pumpkin, listening to everything I say, and yes, Swamin Wahansa, no Swamin Wahansa, 3 bags full Swamin Wahansa. That's no good. There's no value in that. And I could be saying Baba black sheep then, right? Surely. What you have to do is apply everything I say into your life, and you're all experts in what? In what? What are you experts in? What are you all experts in? Come on, what? Living, life, yes. Between all of you, you've got at least 1,000 years of experience, haven't you? Yeah, the makeup ain't that good. You got a few hundred years at least of experience between all of you put together, right? So you've got plenty of life experience. A 7-year-old has enough life experience to apply what the Buddha has taught us. All you need to be is 7 years of age, have some intellect, have some intelligence, and plenty of life experience. That's all there is. These are all the prerequisites for when you turn up here. Oh, and there's one more thing. Be open-minded. Because if you build your walls so high up and so thick that no one can penetrate it, then you're simply blocking yourself from anything new that can come to you and perhaps have a positive effect on your life. So be open-minded. Simple. Stay awake, number 1. Number 2, be open-minded. Number 3, listen. Number 4, put what you listen into practice. When? Next week? No, the week after. Eh? Now. Indeed, now. Are you all prepared to do that? Is that too much to ask? No, I haven't even taken a deposit yet. See? All of this without even taking a deposit. I mean, come on, it doesn't get better than that. Now, the last couple of weeks, I've been talking to you about wanting, desire, longing, yearning. These are all synonyms of the problem. The shame of it is